The entry into service of the first Airbus A321XLR marks a transformative moment and the beginning of an exciting new era. Now, at first glance, that just sounds like your standard corporate excitement from Air Canada's chief commercial officer. But behind those words, well, there's actually a massive multi-year saga of supply chain bottlenecks, massive fleet overhauls, and a relentless push to modernize global aviation. Today, we're unpacking a major milestone in commercial flight and looking at the critical, sometimes hidden, lessons that are literally shaping modern aviation right now. Welcome back to Air Flight Space, where we explore aviation stories, air safety investigations, industry developments, and the lessons shaping modern flight. I'm thrilled to have you here as we dive into a rapid-fire global industry briefing. We're going to look closely at a massive fleet modernization effort, dissect a startling air safety incident driven by human psychology, and then examine the absolute cutting edge of electric flight technology. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our flight plan for today. First, the A321XLR entering service. Second, navigating delivery delays. Third, Air Canada's broader fleet renewal. Fourth, an aviation safety alert. And fifth, defense and tech updates. Starting right off with Section 1, the A321XLR enters service. Let's start with our headline story. The narrow-body aircraft that promises wide-body range has finally arrived for Air Canada. The Airbus A321XLR is officially off the ground. But, an aircraft of this importance isn't just thrown onto its longest routes on day one. That's just not how it works. There is a very specific operational strategy at play here. Air Canada is actively running several domestic flights, mostly just that short hop from Montreal to Toronto, to really thoroughly break the aircraft in. This lets flight crews, maintenance teams, and ground operations familiarize themselves with the new airframe in a highly controlled, low-risk domestic environment. And all of this rigorous domestic testing, it's building up to the aircraft's major transatlantic debut scheduled for June 15th, flying from Montreal directly over to Airbus's home turf in Toulouse, France. So here's why this matters. It's the scale of this commitment. Air Canada hasn't just bought one single jet. This is just the very first of 30 total A321XLRs they've ordered. And interestingly, they split their acquisition strategy right down the middle. 50% are leased, which gives them financial flexibility, and the other 50% are purchased directly from Airbus. Under the wings, these jets are powered by Pratt Whitney PW1100G geared turbofans. Keep this detail in mind because these specific engines are designed for incredible fuel efficiency. That is exactly what allows a narrow-body jet to profitably cross the Atlantic in the first place. But getting to this point wasn't exactly easy. Section 2, navigating delivery delays. Reaching this transformative moment was anything but a smooth flight. The entire aerospace sector has been battling some unprecedented headwinds, and this specific aircraft delivery is a perfect case study in modern supply chain fragility. Let's just look at the timeline for a second. Air Canada placed the initial order in March 2022. They fully expected to receive their first jet in the first quarter of 2024. But as global manufacturing struggled, that expectation got pushed to the fourth quarter of 2025. And ultimately, the actual arrival didn't happen until late April 2026. That is a brutal 4-year journey from order to operation. When an airline misses a promised delivery window by over 2 years, it causes a massive cascading effect. It basically forces them to extend the life of older, less efficient aircraft just to maintain their daily flight schedules. And that ties right into Section 3, Air Canada's fleet renewal. Let's see how this XLR builds into the bigger picture, because it's not operating in a vacuum. It's actually just one piece of a massive, multi-billion-dollar investment strategy to completely modernize their capabilities. Just look at the sheer numbers of this fleet renewal plan. It's like a giant puzzle. We're talking about integrating 65 Airbus A220s, the 30 A321XLRs we just talked about, plus some heavy wide-body power with 14 Boeing 787-10s and 8 Airbus A350-1000s. Oh, and they've already taken delivery of 5 Boeing 737 MAX jets just this year. This is literally one of the most aggressive and comprehensive fleet overhauls in North America right now. Section 4, Aviation Safety Alerts. Let's look at the human element. As airlines push for all this greater efficiency and introduce these advanced aircraft, the human element remains the ultimate variable in air safety. We're going to pivot our investigation now to a critical safety alert that recently made waves. Now, at first, everything seemed perfectly normal during a recent Airbus A320 departure. The flight crew carefully calculated their performance data, thrust settings, and V-speeds based on using the full length of the runway. But investigators noticed something unusual when they reviewed the actual departure. Instead of taxiing all the way to the end of the runway, the crew actually initiated their takeoff roll from an intersection further down. Why? Well, the investigation revealed was driven by pure human psychology, habit, and bias. The crew was just so accustomed to taking off from that specific intersection on the routine flights that muscle memory completely overrode the strict mathematical calculations they had just performed for a full runway departure. Now, this detail would later become incredibly important because physics does not care about habit. By starting the takeoff roll farther down the runway, with thrust calculated for a much longer roll, the aircraft consumed runway at a terrifying rate. This wasn't just a minor discrepancy. The incident at London Luton was flagged by the automated flight data monitoring system because the jet passed dangerously low over the opposite runway threshold. This became a key lesson for investigators and pilots worldwide. It perfectly highlights the real-world consequence of a seemingly minor operational deviation. It's a stark reminder of exactly why automated safety monitoring systems are absolutely vital today. Finally, Section 5, Defense and Tech Updates. From the realities of human factors on the runway, let's shift our focus to the engineering labs. 15 minutes. That is a surprising and honestly somewhat shocking number. It represents the maximum flight endurance limit of Honda's newly approved all-electric air taxi, or eVTOL. Now, what's really interesting here is what it took just to get those 15 minutes of flight time approved. Pushing the boundaries of electric propulsion meant confronting the stubborn laws of chemistry. The FAA actually had to grant special exemptions prior to test flights specifically due to the, quote, inherent design limitations of battery storage. Current battery tech simply lacks the energy density of jet fuel. It's a stark reminder that while the future of urban air mobility is incredibly exciting, for sure, it's currently tethered by the severe physical limitations of power storage. Meanwhile, over in the defense sector, Brazilian aerospace giant Embraer has made a highly calculated strategic decision. Rather than jumping into the incredibly costly and high-risk race to develop a brand-new clean-sheet fighter jet, Embraer is keeping its engineering focus entirely on expanding its proven existing platforms. Specifically, we're looking at the A-29 light attack aircraft and the KC-390 tanker and transport. And you know what? That conservative engineering strategy is absolutely paying off internationally. The market demand for a reliable, versatile tactical airlifter is just massive right now. Embraer is already scheduling C-390 deliveries for 2026 across the globe, with airframes heading out to South Korea, the Czech Republic, and Uzbekistan. By focusing on what they already do best, they are successfully securing a significant foothold in the global defense market, completely skipping the financial jeopardy of a new fighter program. So what can we learn from this story? Today, we've seen how the aviation industry is really defined by its contrasts. We've got airlines like Air Canada battling through 4 years of supply chain delays just to kick off a fleet modernization. We've got human habit nearly causing a disaster at London Luton, proving technology is only as safe as the operators flying it. And we have engineers fighting for just 15 minutes of electric flight, proving that progress is measured in very small, hard-fought increments. The main lesson here is that aviation is an ecosystem where human psychology, global logistics, and sheer engineering willpower constantly collide. As manufacturers overcome these massive hurdles, what unexpected innovations will reshape our skies next? Thanks for watching Airflight Space. If you found this video informative, leave a like and subscribe for more aviation investigations and air safety documentaries. Share your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next video.